to Narrative and Beyond with Michael Adekombi. I still have my Welcome to Narrative and Beyond with Michael Adekombi. I remain your host. Today I have a very good friend of mine on this platform today. His name is TIMON Obiawe. TIMON is a man of, maybe I would say is a man with the garment of many colors. He does so many things. He started as an agric graduate. He read agric, animal nutrition, and today he's a life coach, and he plays in the realm. He plays in the realm of emotional intelligence, coaching and all of that. He trains and coach organizations, managers, C-suits, as it were. And he's also into sports. He's done athletics. He's represented his university back then many years ago in athletics in Nuga, I think. Yes, Nuga. He's a man of many colors. You're going to enjoy, the wisdom and all of that he's going to dispense today. Meet my guest, TIMON Obiawe. TIMON, you are welcome to Narrative and Beyond.
Thank you, Michael. You're doing a good job with this podcast you're doing. I listened to a couple of it, and I'm always very excited to see the kind of information you are chunking out. Nice one, well done.
Thank you. So, can you share a bit about yourself and what's that's influenced or impacted the man you have become today? From this background of agric, from being the child of a military man, coming back to the civilian world, and what has molded you to become who you are today and all the things you are doing?
Thank you for that question. It's a long one, really. When you think of your childhood, the transition, because life itself is a transition, and you look at the journey you have taken over time to get where you are, and probably look at where you are still going, you can but just thank the Almighty. But as it were, like you rightly said, I'm a son of a military officer. We grew up. It's gonna be out of place if you say I was a barrack boy. Yes, I was a barrack boy. From that place, I did a lot of rascality of kind of thing. Play football. Football was my core. I played football, did all the kind of things I needed to do before I was shipped to a paramilitary school, Command Secondary School, Ibadan to be precise. There, I encountered something that changed my life for good, and that made me to be able to relate with people a great deal. I started working with people, probably call it Christian fellowship as at that time, and I saw that you can help people alter behavior, help people take new turns and become better. Because at that point in time, I took a detour off a journey I was taking to be what I am. So I knew that was where the beginning started to relating with people. But then, because I was also a sportsman, I played football. I started playing Principal's Cup for my secondary school for my JS3, that kind of thing. So getting into university, it was easy for me to just transit into sport, and at the same time, move from one fellowship to another, did programs in school, but I knew quite well that I could not have run away or escape working with people. People became the resources that God blessed me with. When people are saying they are running with friends, I had a lot of friends, both male and female. As a matter of fact, Michael, this is what you probably might not know. I had more female friends and more male friends. That my friends nicknamed me at that time Bishop TD Babes. You understand that kind of thing. But the truth was just that that was because a lot of them found solutions, wisdom that I didn't even know how it came. It was just coming from there. Then the university came. And then after university, okay, let me put how the university came. I wanted to become an aeronautic engineer, but along the line, Nigeria happens in such a way that I had to end up in the faculty of we call it College of Animal Nutrition in University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. And we saw it through. And when we came out from the university, I knew quite well that this was not going to be what I would do because of my passion for people. However, I made another decision based on economics to go and do programming, IT. And I did that a couple of times. I used that to work for a TV station in Nigeria. I don't want to mention the name here. I worked there as the head of IT. And then once I left there, I knew quite well that, okay, I also worked for a consulting firm where I realized that there was something I could do in the corporate setting, being a solution to behavioral change and organizational change and things like that. And that's how I found myself with emotional intelligence, realizing that there is a structured way in which you can help people navigate from where they are to where they ought to be.
Hmm. Interesting. You said something happened when you got to the university or something that changed the trajectory of your life. What was that?
Um, the truth was just that I didn't like what I was doing in the university. I was animal nutrition. It was not just my thing. So I encounter, if you look behind me, I encounter books. I
Hmm.
started reading and I saw that there was a different dimension to life. I can become anything I wanted to become. So I read a lot of books, and one book in particular written by John Maxwell, The Winning Attitude, was one of them that turned my life around. After meeting that, I also met a book by um, Dr. Miles Moron, In Pursuit for Purpose. Those two books turned my life around. They are still on my shelf till tomorrow, and I make sure that my children are reading it as it were. So those two things made me realize that the attitude I have about myself and understanding my purpose to follow after purpose would always change a lot of things. So those two things, those two books altered the thinking on my life entirely,
Hmm.
outside God.
Hmm. All right. Now, I think I'm just going to delve into where you have taken me now. So, if someone finds himself or herself in a wrong field, a wrong career, or a career that doesn't align with their life goals, what would you advise that they do?
Thank you for that question. Very brilliant one. See, if you come to look at the competencies or the principles or the building blocks of emotional intelligence, anybody that is in the field of emotional intelligence will tell you that the foundation of it is self-awareness.
Hmm.
So if first and foremost, you need to acknowledge the fact that what you are doing is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And realize why am I doing what I am doing? It could be a transition, you understand, towards a purpose. You must understand that. So when you understand why you are doing what you are doing or why you are where you are, and you now understand who you really are, self-awareness is another definition of civilization. So if you understand where you are, you can able to say, okay, fine, what am I going to do next? Look around. What are the options that are available to me that will make me who I am? Then you begin to take possible steps. Let me tell you something. I stumbled on a particular definition of change. I don't know if you can write for the lady. It's a formula that I've used a couple of times in saying you need to uh, understand every dynamics of it. The formula is change is equal to D times V times Fs greater than R. What does that mean? When change is equal to D stands for dissatisfaction. You first of all must be able to realize that you are dissatisfied with the state you are.
Hmm.
If you are not dissatisfied with where you are, you cannot begin to provoke change in your life. So even if you are earning 2 million, $3 million in a month or thereabout, you can be satisfied. But if purpose is telling you that's not where you're supposed to be, you'll be dissatisfied with where you are. That takes you, if you are dissatisfied with where you are and you are not able to articulate where you ought to be, that's frustration. So that's vision. You don't like where you are. You must be able to paint a picture of where you are going to. When you are able to pen that picture, okay, fine, I don't like here. Situation and circumstances have brought me here. This is my desired vision, because vision in this case becomes a picture of a desired future. So when you have painted that picture of a desired future, you now ask yourself, what are the steps I need to take to move towards this direction? That's the F. When you are beginning to move towards that direction, you understand you're probably going to meet some obstacles, some things. That's why I call them FS, means first steps, your first necessary steps. Then what is it greater than? It's greater than R. let me tell you something. Not no change comes on a platter of gold. There will be resistance on the way. So you must be able to identify those resistance. So the summation or the multiplication of your dissatisfaction, if you can put them in numerical figure, your state of vision and the steps you are taking must be greater than the resistance that is coming your way.
Mm,
So if anybody is going to do that, you must understand that you must be dissatisfied with your person's present state, be able to cast a vision for the next stage, and be able to articulate what is it that I need to do, which could be, do I need to build a new network, do I need to take an MBA, do I need to go to back to school, do I need to get a mentor to be able to take me there? You must be able to articulate it. If not, you remain stuck in that particular place and blame every other person and not yourself.
mm, mm. Awesome. Now, you're already sharing some very deep stuffs. And I call that I read a book called The Dream Giver a few years ago, and
Okay.
it talks about a lot of roadblocks,
Mhm,
on your quest to pursuing your dream and to fulfilling your
okay.
dream.
Mhm.
How do you think, what would be your counsel to someone who discover roadblocks around their lives while they are trying to effect the change you have spoken about? They are trying to move from a particular, sport from here to there, and there are roadblocks. From emotional intelligence point of view, and as a change manager that you are, what would you advise such person or such people should do to remove or to manage roadblocks? Because there are roadblocks that you can't remove. You have to walk around them. Some you have to remove them.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
what would be your counsel?
Nice one, Michael. See, the truth is that there are some problem that looks bigger than you. And the truth is there are always solutions around you. You might not be the person that will solve it, but you probably, if you build a good network, you will have somebody that have a solution to that. So the first thing is that no man is an island. You don't think that, that's why for me, I particularly don't fancy those who call themselves self-made millionaires, because there's nobody that really self-made. You understand? You get, there's nobody that's really self-made. You probably have struggled. Yes, you've done well, but along the line, there are one or two people that you have met that brought you there. So it might be your cleaner, it might be your boss, it might be your colleague, it might be your contemporary. When you ask questions, they probably will have answer to those things you call a hurdle. What
Mm,
seems to be like a mountain to you will be a stepping stone to another person. Have a good set of people around you. You know,
mm,
the Holy Book says, he that walk with the wise shall be wise.
mm,
You get. So when
mm,
you put right set of people around you,
mm.
wisdom comes to you. And there are some things, if you again open books, you probably see solutions to it. You don't just give in and cave down. There are always solutions. If you look at people that have made it, they delegate to people who have the answer, even if they don't have the answer. So when you say people along the journey, you see this roadblock, you try to solve it, you've tried, you've done this, they outsource it by any means. Just make sure that you are not losing focus of where you are going to. So for me, you might not have the answer to everything, but you have a good network, or you should build a good network that will have an answer, or probably somebody else that knows somebody else that will have the answer. There will
Mm,
always be an answer to it.
mm, mm. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Now, let me just take you back to when you were doing sports. And sport comes with attitude, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much about your physical strength or energy. It's here. How can we develop the right mental attitude to win in life?
Okay. I'll tell you a story. And my first Nuga games was in 1997. I
What is
represented my
Nuga?
Nuga Nigerian University Games.
Okay, all right.
Nigerian University Games. That was the first university games I represented my school. That was when I went. And if you notice very well, that was just immediately after the Olympic 1996.
Hmm.
And we had a lot of Nigerian university students that represented us in 1996. One
Yeah,
of which was the
Atlanta.
Afolabi sister, Atlanta. One of which was the Afolabi sisters. Afolabi sisters ran with Nigerian female 4x400 meter. I think they came second or third. They did very well at that point. I think they came up with a medal. but she was still in the university, so she was still eligible to run for her school. So then I was running for by 400 meters finals for my school. So the ladies will do first before we do. Now something interesting happened. The Ife female team had started very well, beautifully. So they were leading the second team, which was Uniloni, with almost 25 to 30 meters gap. But this Afolabi lady, I can't remember her first name. They were sister, twin sister. She was to run the last leg for Uniloni. So the person that took the betting for Ife,
That's
I can't
OAU.
remember now. OAU. So collected the betting. I was just jogging and was just jogging until the person that collected the betting for picked up the betting and ran, knowing quite well that somebody met with the OAU lady, passed the OAU. It was after she passed the OAU, she started running. And we were all surprised. Was she injured? Was something wrong with her? By the time she finished and got to the finishing point, someone also went to meet her. Come, why didn't you run? You had an opportunity. You had about 25 meters gap to go. Do you know what she said? She said, person that won the Olympics. I run, no, she will catch me. I don't run, no, she will catch me. Let me just allow her to pass before I start running. Now, that's an attitude.
Interesting.
That's an attitude. So when you would say, how do you tell people to change attitude? You must realize that you are seeing yourself as I'm going to do everything I can. What if she didn't catch you? That lady didn't think that way. What if she didn't catch you? You just assumed and say, oh, this is how I'm going to be like, and you just agreed and gave it up
Was
like
already
that.
defeated in her
She
mind.
was already defeated in her mind. So there was nothing anybody was going to tell her. So anybody that either in business, in your life, you must understand that you are the only one that you are the custodian of your destiny. You must be able to say, yes, things are hard, but I'm going to make it. You don't have to be defeated internally before the external people get to realize that you are defeated. No, don't be like that lady. So when you ask me, what do you tell them? There are choices you will make. Life is not fair, but you must be understanding that I will need to give it the best shot in whatever I am doing. If I had given up as an Greek person, by the way, right now I'm having to get back to farming again. You understand? But then it's just a side business you get. But the truth is that right now my call to see that I am helping people to transit from where they are to where they ought to be. I see a lot of people move. I say, okay, it's what you told me has changed my thinking. I'm happy. But the truth is just not my truth. It's the internalization of the truth you give to them that made them to change. So for that particular lady right now, I'm sure if she thinks back, she will realize that she probably would have been hanging a Nuga gold medal, not fighting in her mind for a silver medal from the onset. So that's how some people think. So if you are going to alter that mind, realize that the heavens are wide enough for everybody to contest and win. Don't give up.
All right, thank you. Very, very, very good one. Now, while you're talking, something kept running in my mind. Does upbringing affect people's mindset for winning or for success?
There are
And
no, there are not, there are no two ways about it. Finish your question. Finish your question.
okay, okay. So, all right. So, upbringing affects. That's what you have just said now. So,
There's no
if
two ways.
someone
I'll
grew,
explain.
yeah. So, upbringing, influence, and then of course that's a combination of environment, the kind of training or mentoring you get from your parents or your custodians, and the kind of people you have moved with and all of that. How can young people begin to realign their lives for success or for greatness as they go,
Okay.
regardless of their background, regardless of their upbringing?
So, okay, regardless of the background, the truth, like I said before, without controversy, the backgrounds will have an influence. And I'm you choosing my word. We have an influence,
Mm,
but you can alter the influence.
mm,
So when I do my teachings also at my coaching sessions, there's another formula I wrote down. I say P, your personality, what people see you with, is equal to K, which is constant. K being your ability to learn. Every human being has the ability to learn, and it is
Mm,
constant. Till we die, we keep learning, which is plus E1, E2, E dot 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 En. E now becomes the variation of environment. So when you know that you have the ability to learn, every environment you get in contact with deposits something in your subconscious.
mm,
So that itself will continue to grow. You might not totally get to eliminate it. So when you ask the question, how will you tell them to alter or not to allow the past to influence them? The truth is that it has already influenced them, it's part of them. What
mm,
you'll now be looking at is that how you create a new environment that will overshadow what you already have learned. I read one book, which one of the book is behind me here when I was doing my master's. It's called The Cultures of Nations and Organizations. The guy he defined culture as a mental programming by the society of an individual. It's a mental programming. So what you do regularly is what you with the kind of environment in which you make yourself with. Michael, you know my wife, and you know that they are twins, identical twins. If at the day of birth you take one to Ikoyi and you take the other one to Ajegule, for those who don't know, uptown and downtown, you understand? And in 15 years later, you brought both of them together. They will look alike physically because they are still looking alike, but
mm,
their orientation will be altered.
mm. The
And
mindset.
the mindset will be altered. I've seen that one played out. Like I told you, I worked with a TV station in Nigeria. When I was there, I am somebody was with
One of
me,
the leading TV stations.
one of the leading TV stations in Nigeria. So somebody worked with me, and when he was in Nigeria, he drive like his driving was very rough. But he has relocated to the UK. He came back to do something, and I was driving. Everybody called me the gentle driver. I was driving, normal me, not anything changed. And she was like, "No, stop, stop, don't drive like that." And I was like, "Hey, what happened to you?" The environment in London has happened to him that you must be cautious, you must obey rules and regulations. That environment has happened to him. So when you ask me, what do you do? Is that you will consciously and deliberately recreate your environment, the kind of
Mm,
movies you watch, the kind of music you listen to, the kind of people you relate with, the kind of books you read, the kind of everything, the kind of magazines you expose yourself to, the kind of network you build. Do you attend the seminar that we're building in the area? Those are the environments and the truth is that by so doing, you will be suppressing, not eliminating what the background has taught you because you really cannot totally eliminate it.
mm,
You will keep suppressing it and suppressing it. But at the end of the day, I believe that if you are familiar with this environment for long, you begin to think differently. Your thoughts will be altered and you begin to behave in a different one manner. And it
mm,
doesn't happen overnight anyway.
mm. That's correct. All right, thank you for that. I'm still going to take you on since we've already entered this dimension. I'm going to just stay there. Now, how can parents help their children? I know that you're a married counselor as well, and then you play that a lot. So, how can parents help their children, especially teenagers, to have positive mindsets in a world where teenagers are trying to be visible, are trying to manage or to, I don't know how to put it now, are trying to cope with peer pressure, pressure from social media, pressure from the internet, and all of that. How can parents, because I'm very particular about that, how can parents help their children, you know, to build, to create positive mindset for greatness, regardless of the environment where they have found themselves?
Thank you very much for that question. I keep saying, and I'll say it again, you cannot give what you don't have. Most
Absolutely.
parents, most parents don't have it. And it becomes difficult for them to, so when you say you have something, you have a positive mindset. You don't need to teach it. You live it, and you have created an environment for that particular young one to grow up with. You remember the environment we talked about. So if by the time the parent is teaching them positive mindset, but living defeative mindset, you
Mm.
confuse the children the
Mm.
more.
Mm.
So it's more than just, hey, I've told you this, I've told this, I've told that. Yes, keep talking is good, but the truth is that what they see most of the time is what they take into more. So I want to start with the parents. You must begin to follow that change formula. You're dissatisfied with the way you are relating with your children. What do I want to be? You have to be it before you can give it.
Mm.
So to all parents who probably want the children to be the best, be your best first.
Mm.
And the way you relate with your spouse, the way you discuss with people around you, you must be able to show examples for them to learn. So now when it comes to the issue of this generation, you realize that there are different environments that is contending with the one that the parents is creating.
True.
You talked about social media, and the truth is that they are internet natives. We are the aliens. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
We are the aliens. So they you must also decide to say, okay, fine. I should be able to put some checks and balances to it, if you can, to a certain stage, because at when they once they are 18, you probably might not be able to culture them as you want.
Yeah, they are
But
adults already.
from the age of 3, 2, and you throw your gadgets to them for them to keep quiet, you're already building an environment for them. And when they are now 13, they're going to be 18, and they are living what you have taught them. You are going to be doing something counterproductive. So you probably will just need the grace of God at that point in time and consistency. I'm not saying it's not possible, but they themselves will need to understand that where they are going, that's the teenagers now, is not the best for them. But as far as they are concerned, when what they have consciously built over time, over 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you are now all of a sudden telling them it's not right. You are you are creating a contradiction that is not sitting, that's not going to be sitting well with them. So where is the solution lying? If you find yourself in that place, make let them know that you are the parents, but at the same time be a friend to them. Be firm and be friendly.
Be firm
Firm,
and be friendly. Mm.
firm and friendly.
Mm.
When you say this, let them know that you mean it, and you need to say it in such a way that they will get it, so that next time they will not be afraid to come back to you again. So to me, firm and friendly is a process in which I use for myself. I'll give an example. My first son is university, and we gave him a phone because the school requires that he give him a phone. It's a private university. So he sent me a message one time and I said, good morning. And I said, good morning. And he just started discussion. I said, go back to the first statement you made. You don't tell me good morning. Is it that you tell me good morning, daddy, or you good morning,
Mm.
sir? Personalize it. That's where we are from. As friendly as he still comes to tell me. But if you let that, as simple as that is, if you
To
let it
sleep.
slide to
Mm.
sleep, you
Mm.
will not be able to correct it in the future.
Mm.
You understand? So he knows that I said, I don't need your sir. Good morning, daddy. It brings us back home and we are talking.
Mm.
So if you say good morning, you are turning me to maybe even your lecturer, you won't take your lecturer good morning, particularly in this part of the country. So these
Mm.
are the things you do. As small, as negligible that it may look, it all adds up.
Mm.
So if you don't tell your children, I'll punish you, I'll punish you. If you are going to punish, punish. If you're not going to punish, don't punish. Don't say what you're not going to do, because they will take it registers in their mind and they begin to say you are not serious. So that's why I said most times parents they don't have it, so they cannot give it.
Mm.
That's the biggest problem I've seen as a journey of marriage counseling. That's the problem I've seen over time. So I encourage that parents too should go through coaching. There are a lot of coaches, parent coach, of probably how to do that, how to make sure that you are in tune with your children, understand their language. There was a day I went online to learn the slangs. My children came in one day and I spoke with them. They said, Daddy, you are speaking our language. I said, yes, I'm speaking your language. Despite the fact that I didn't know the meaning, but just to relate with them and they feel free. If you that's what I do. That's what works for me. And most of them are not the people, my clients that I talk to, and they have given testimonies to respect to that. So we are contending with a whole lot of things. The internet, you cannot take the internet away, but you can always get to help them to navigate through to the best things that the internet can give.
That's right.
And you have to be deliberate about it.
That's right. Thank you. Um, what is emotional intelligence? In a layman's language, I don't want you to give us the professional so much, definition for those, because we have different target audience who watch, this podcast, teenagers and all of that. So, what is emotional intelligence, and how can we, young people, first develop strong emotional intelligence, that will be beneficial to their lives as they grow? How can professionals develop emotional intelligence? I'm still going to bring it into relationships, because if you take emotional intelligence, the mastery of emotional intelligence from relationships, what you will find is chaos. I read a book by, I think, Dale Coleman, if I remember if that's his name, on working with emotional intelligence. He wrote Emotional Intelligence and Working with Emotional. Daniel Coleman, yes. Thank you. All right, so let me just take you back. So the question is, how can young people develop emotional intelligence early enough? Because it's very, very key, I believe. And how can professionals develop emotional intelligence and apply it to their career or to their work?
Thank you. The first question was, what is emotional intelligence? So let me put it this way: is the ability to use the emotions to your advantage. Let me put it as lame as it can be. The ability to use emotions to your advantage, both your own and other people's own. You understand? What I say to your advantage right now, not in a selfish way.
Not manipulation.
Not manipulation, but in a way that that's why I said your own and every other person, so that everybody benefits. Because at the end of the day, emotional intelligence wants everybody to benefit. So, like you actually said, Daniel Coleman was one of those people who made emotional intelligence popular. And he came up with the 5 competencies of emotional intelligence. And that is know yourself, self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation, then empathy, then social skills. You understand? That was the 5 domains that he made mention of it. So when you ask me, how can a young boy or young girl develop emotional intelligence? Remember again, go back to the equation of everybody having ability to learn. What you expose yourself to, you acquire.
What you expose yourself to, you acquire. That's wrong.
So when you say, how do young people develop emotional intelligence, you first of all ask, what kind of environment are they coming from? You'll probably see that children that grew up in an emotionally intelligent family will by default leave it. Then there are others who are being influenced outside, maybe because they don't have a good self-worth and somebody just live there and they move that. So there's always environment that live there. So when you say, how do we develop emotional intelligence, you must understand that it's all about you first. Stephen Covey said, seek to understand before you are being understood. So seek to understand other people before you make a demand for people to understand you. So in emotional intelligence, you have a full understanding of who you are, that's self-awareness. And most of these children, as they are growing up, they really don't understand who they are, because there are a lot of voices are speaking to them. There's a voice of the teacher, there's a peer pressure, there is the internet, there are the movies, there are the enemies of this world that are speaking to them. They are all speaking to them. They are shaping their thinking, their emotions. You understand? So, but that is why They will need people around me, you, parents, who understand that these guys, they came in a state of tabula rasa. So, and the things you write on them is what they take.
What does that mean?
Being in a state of tabula rasa is that they came in a clean slate. There is nothing when the man is born on earth, there is nothing on the slate.
It's
Every
blank.
experience is blank. Every experience is putting an indemnity mark on it. And so you now want to come and remove the mark that had been there for a long time. It's going to be difficult to put another one.
Mm.
So if you are going to do that, you have to expose yourself to superior behavioral style,
Mm.
which it's which we have. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do, emotional intelligence. And I have learned two frameworks of emotional intelligence. There's a Daniel Goleman framework, and I do the 6 seconds framework. Both of them I know, I understand that that's a different dimension, but still speaking the same thing. But one of them appeal more to the professionals at work. One, you can use them for families and other individuals. Both of them still speak the same thing, but the relationship and the application of it, you can still use it for any other. But for me, that's the way I do it. So for young ones, it's good that you expose its intentionality, that you're always bringing them before, making them to understand that this is how you know. When you see two siblings fighting, you need to have to tell them how to behave and not how not to behave. Before I close on that, what emotional intelligence is, I'll tell you something about my two children. You know them. The boy normally feels that the younger one, who's a girl, takes him for a ride. And he had struck him, beat him physically once or twice. So I called him. I said, this was my instruction. Never beat a lady. Never beat a lady. So I went out one day and I came back that they had fought and he beat her silly. So when I decided to punish him, and when I did my punishment, I asked him, why did I beat you? He said, because I beat my sister. I said, no, that's not why I beat you. You must understand why I beat you. I asked him about 3, 4 times. He said, okay, because I told you, I gave you an information later. Why did you beat it? Because you beat a lady. If you are able to beat your sister, you get away with it. You beat another woman outside.
That's right. You assault any lady out there.
You are certainly lady outside.
That's
So
right.
I'm not telling you because you beat your sister,
Mm.
because you beat a lady. So that has stuck with him anytime he comes to report. So at that point in time, there's a level of control he will have to his outburst.
He will
I have
restrain
taught him
himself.
he will
Mm.
restrain himself. That
Mm.
is a teaching without having of emotional intelligence to a
Mm.
young boy. And so
Mm.
he has learned that over the years.
Mm.
That okay, a lady, as long as you are not a man, not that you're going to start fighting men, but as long as you are not a man, whatever you have done, I will not beat you.
Mm.
So that's a lesson that will probably go.
Mm.
So when you talk about professional, a lot of research have told us that people who develop emotional intelligence in the place of work have about 86% performance above every those other person that don't have it. So
Mm.
it is important that we realize that uh, for the office space is another community of different species of human being with different culture and different.
Can you repeat what you said? That people with emotional intelligence, can you repeat it again? I need that emphasis for people to hear it again.
You mean people with high emotional intelligence?
Yes. People with high emotional intelligence.
People with high emotional intelligence do far more better, about 86% better than those who don't have
Without it.
emotional intelligence without it in the place of work.
Okay,
Research have showed this.
I'm going to pause you there. Um, I'm going to pause you there in that question so that we have a short break right now. So that we can have a short break right now and come for part two.
No
Please
problem.
just ensure that you don't leave the screen. I'm still with Timon Oviawe. He's a life coach. He's a counselor, married counselor, relationship counselor, and he plays a lot in the space of emotional intelligence, mastery of emotional intelligence. Helping people to alter bad behavior and acquire new and positive behavior and right mindset. That's what he does. He's a coach to many organizations, to managers, to C-suites, executives, to families and all of that. And that's where it plays. So we're going to come back in part two after this short break. Be right back. If you have not subscribed to Narrative and Beyond on YouTube, ensure you rush there to do that. All right. We'll be back for part 2. Then we'll continue with the answer to that question I asked. Thank you.
From different parts of the world, trying to achieve and do.
Welcome back to Narrative and Beyond with my Kombi. I still have